Something I hear quite a bit as a critic here on the internet and as a general purveyor of media at large is that I'm too opinionated. I hear this a lot, that my strong opinions that I voice extremely loudly will get me in trouble. If I say something is bad, then someone who thinks it's good will get upset about it. And that has caused most of the conflict in my life, by and large. It's that I'm a bit of a blabbermouth. I tend to open my yap a bit too much. I tend to voice my concerns and thoughts a little too much, and people don't prefer that. And I'm fully willing to admit, that I'm somewhat of a naive jackass, and I tend to shoot straight from the hip, and I don't tend to exactly agree with everyone about absolutely everything 100% of the time. And most of the things that I dislike are things that I assume a lot of people do like, and vice versa. A lot of the things I like are stuff that a lot of other people hate, such as life. I've really matured over the past year or so to the extent that someone else can voice an opinion that I don't agree with, and I'll just be like, okay, we're both rational, level-headed adults. We can just move on with our lives even though we don't agree on absolutely everything 100% of the time. That's alright. It's just not going to happen. Nonetheless, I do think it's destructive to assume that all opinions are equally unfounded. Some opinions can be more accurate than others. I've been a long-time proponent of that idea, that your opinion really isn't worth shit if you can't at least explain why it is that you like or don't like something. Its qualities, its quality comparative to something else of an equal or higher caliber, its personal connection with you, how you came to view it, its significance to your own life. I think these are all things that you should bring up if you're trying to convince someone of why you like something. You should say exactly why it's good or exactly why it's bad, whatever the case may be. I think that's very important to justify your opinions and back them up, and not just say stuff to make people angry. One aspect of giving your opinion on something, though, which I think a lot of people don't take into consideration, is you really shouldn't feel entitled enough to give your opinion on something in a given industry if you yourself are not an active player in that industry who knows it inside and out, and knows all the nuances and technicalities of it. Like, for instance, I'm a cartoonist, writer, filmmaker, musician, so I feel relatively experienced in all these fields, and I'm not hesitant whatsoever to call out a fellow musician or filmmaker if I feel they don't live up to my standards, because I myself have made work of an equal or superior quality to theirs. So I'm extremely justified in talking about this because I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just some random asshat. I can put my money where my mouth is and prove that I've got the skills to back up exactly what I'm saying. So when I shit on Ariel Pink or Kyle Edward Ball for being lame and making a substandard product, I'm justified in saying that because I'm an active participant in the fields that they themselves are involved in, that being music and filmmaking, respectively. There are some videos where opinions are given, and the person in question giving the opinion just comes off as ridiculously entitled and out of touch. For instance, there's a video called "Rock Stars Were Legitimately Insane" by this Texan guy called Necessary Information, where he basically just spends half an hour shitting on David Bowie and Keith Moon and all these other dead, talented people. And he's not a rock star or anything. He's just Googling these facts, relaying them to the audience with a post-ironic hipster joke tossed in there every so often. And he doesn't make rock music. He assumes that his audience doesn't even know who Keith Moon is. So it's like, well, yeah, this is kind of weak criticism. It's not like I have a problem with rock stars for trashing hotel rooms or whatever. I'll expect them to do that just so long as they make competent rock music and they're not fucking Ariel Pink, So long as their music kicks ass, so long as it's fucking epic, I don't really care what they get up to in their spare time, drugs or partying or whatever. But the last thing anyone needs is someone who's not even a rock star and doesn't even have a foot in that game to talk shit about Keith Moon or whatever. It's kind of counterproductive and doesn't really accomplish anything in the grand scheme. If all you do is criticize, if all you do is destruct other people's work and tear them down and you don't build anything up yourself, then that's not good. But if you build up good things and tear down bad things, then that's fine. If you build up Hypnagogic Archive and you tear down Skinamarink, that's A-okay. If you make an epic 22-track album called Adult Swamp while simultaneously shitting on Ariel Pink's much worse substandard album, then that's A-okay. If you make a really cool comic called The Divine Tapestry while shitting on Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, for being an absolute vile piece of shit, then that's okay, because you're building something up to replace the thing that you're tearing down. You're actually substantively altering the media landscape for the better. All that said, though, I find opinions interesting, particularly in the internet age, because people are very reluctant to engage with opinions that they disagree with, and in that regard, nothing new is ever made, nothing new is ever said. And if you never bother to engage with opinions that you disagree with, then you'll never grow as a person, and nothing new is ever going to come to fruition. Everything will just stagnate in this comatose paralysis, and that's not fun for anybody. Yeah, well, the opinions I have might be pretty different from the common mainstream opinions, and I do have a lot of opinions that have gotten me in pretty hot water over the years. Everyone who says that I should respect their opinions simultaneously refuse to respect mine. I just find that really ironic, that people insist that I like what they like for no good reason. They can't even explain why they like it. They're just like, well, I like it because the internet said that I should like it. Meanwhile, I say something remotely controversial and they'll just fly into an absolute tizzy and they'll be, you can't hate that. Nick, you can't hate that. You can't hate so-and-so. It's like, well, you know, I can. And every opinion that I have that differs from the norm, that you haven't heard before, or considered, or bothered to think about, that just makes me a more interesting person. It makes me a more unique, captivating individual, and that's all I could ever strive to be. So I'll keep opening my big stupid yap. Deal with it.